got speed, he's got power. I know he's moving up in weight class, can he carry it? You know, but those intangibles, I believe that he has them.
Look at, and then Canelo's older. Crawford has the ability, but he's small, you know, and he can look bigger in. Crawford could look bigger in the weigh-ins and all that stuff, but it's always a difference. When you get that fight with somebody, you can tell. Same thing with Jamel. Jamel fought him, the twin. He fought Crawford in all the stuff, the weigh-ins and the press conference.
Too fast and too smart for Canelo. Even Canelo is a good boxer. I'm not saying like nothing from not taking nothing from Canelo.
Canelo versus Crawford is being billed as the biggest fight of the year, and Teddy Atlas has given a blunt breakdown. He believes Terence Crawford has the tools to win regardless of weight class, praising his discipline, adaptability, and all-around skill. Atlas argues that Canelo Alvarez is no longer the fighter he once was, claiming the Mexican star has lost the hunger that fueled his prime. Pointing to recent performances as evidence of decline, Atlas even labels Canelo overrated when compared to Crawford. In his eyes, Crawford's sharpness and drive make him the favorite.
That the urgency's not there, the fire's not there. At least it wasn't there a week ago. At least I say that. It wasn't there a week ago. Maybe it'll be there now. Maybe he's the kind of guy that, and I get it, that at this point in their career, it has to be a big fight to get up. That Canelo can't get up for these fights. He couldn't get up for that fight. All right, if you want to go down that road, go ahead. But my road is still possible. That he got old, that just doesn't have that fire no more. Oh my God, I'm gonna say this one. That maybe he's a little overrated. I listen, I know he's tremendous. He's tremendous. But could he be a tiny bit overrated? If you look at some of his biggest fights, the fights where you had to be great to win, that you fought great fighters or near great fighters, you know, you can make the argument that he lost the first Triple G. You know, he didn't embarrass himself, but he got a draw. Second one, you can make the argument he lost that. I know it was a different kind of fight, and he got better. But you can make the argument he lost to Lara. He did lose to Mayweather. You can make the argument he was too young in his career. Maybe. Although it wasn't that young. He turned pro when he was 15 or 16.
Jasmine Machine Cavaliaskas, who once shared the ring with Crawford, insists that size will not decide the outcome. He highlights Crawford's superior skill set, intelligence, and adaptability as the true difference makers. For him, Crawford's ability to control distance, pace, and rhythm outweighs any physical advantage Canelo might bring. He describes Crawford as one of the smartest fighters of his generation, capable of adjusting mid-fight to dismantle opponents of any size. In his view, this matchup favors the sharper, more calculated fighter, Crawford.
Not good for Crawford. Canelo's too big. Right now, my position changed. I think Crawford is too fast and too smart for Canelo. Even Canelo is a good boxer. I'm not saying like nothing from not taking nothing from Canelo, but the way when you see oh he's too big, when you see Usyk fights and what Usyk did to the big guys like Joshua and Fury, so the size that doesn't matter. I think the skill level matters, and Crawford, he gained weight, but I think he's gonna be even faster, and his head works good in the ring. He's boxing IQ just on top. So I would say 50-50, but right now I'm kind of leaning more to Crawford.
And that's just because of what you saw Usyk do?
It's not I'm just giving an example, size doesn't matter in the boxing. When they say Canelo is big and he's fighting 175, 168, and Crawford just moving from 147, 154. So I'm just putting an example that size doesn't matter, and the fighter makes the fight. I think it's just that I see that Crawford's training and that he's big too right now. So he gained weight, but not lots of people gain weight like that. Sloppy weight, I would say fat, but he gained he looked strong, massively strong. So I think it's gonna be good.
How did Terence feel physically when you faced him? How is his strength? Because a lot of people do make the point that Canelo's just maybe too big too powerful for Crawford?
Crawford, I wouldn't say like his punches was like super strong, but his timing and accuracy is what makes it.
Mean Machine also draws a comparison to Canelo's 2013 loss to Floyd Mayweather. Back then, a young, less experienced Canelo was outclassed by Mayweather's speed, defense, and ring IQ. Cabelliascas believes Crawford can implement a similar strategy using movement, precision, and counters to neutralize Canelo's strengths. But he adds an important distinction: today's Canelo is far more seasoned, having faced and beaten elite opponents. That experience, he warns, could make this a tougher challenge than the Mayweather fight.
But they just throw. I mean, he throws like his calculation for the punches and like timing and aiming to the right spots is just like on another level.
Do you think that's going to be the thing that complicates the fight the most for Canelo?
I think so, yeah. And like, yeah, we can go back a little bit to Mayweather Canelo, and Canelo was young and like Mayweather smart, but it can be like familiar fight like that. Even Canelo right now have more experience, and Crawford is still in his prime. So yeah, we'll see.
From just your experience, you knowing boxing, like how do you think the fight will play out? Do you think it'll be a slow fight? Do you think it'll be tactical? Like, do you think Crawford?
I think it's gonna start a little bit slowly. They're gonna be careful with each other just to kind of like measure each other and see where they at. And like they're like that's why like they're like champs and they're like great ones. They just don't go like crazy like from the first round.
Former world champion Regis Prograis sees it differently. He doubts Crawford's power will trouble a granite-chinned fighter like Canelo, who has absorbed shots from much bigger punchers. However, he doesn't dismiss Crawford entirely. Prograis acknowledges that Crawford's skill, adaptability, and determination make him dangerous. In his view, Crawford may not hurt Canelo, but he could still outthink and outmaneuver him.
I think that Crawford has the ability to outbox Canelo. You gotta look at it, and then Canelo's older. Crawford has the ability, but he's small, and he can look bigger in. Crawford could look bigger in the weigh-ins and all that stuff, but it's always a difference. When you get that fight with somebody, you can tell. Same thing with Jamel. Jamel fought him, the twin. He fought Crawford, and in all the stuff, the weigh-ins and the press conference, Jamel looked like the bigger man. His head, his neck, everything looked bigger. But when they got in the fight, you can tell. You can see who really was the bigger man. And I think that's the same thing. Crawford is putting on weight, but it's not weight. Like Canelo had the weight already. He doesn't have to put on muscle. He doesn't have to do that. He's already big like that. But I think that Crawford does have the style. He does have the style to beat him. If you look at the people that beat him or gave him troubles, Irislan, DeLaura, Austin Trout, Floyd, and Bivol, they gave him trouble and stuff like that. And Skull moved around a little bit too. So I think that Crawford has that, but I don't know how Crawford is gonna respond when he gets hit. Same thing with Jamel. Jamel was undisputed at 154, and Canelo hit him and shit. Jamel was like, hell no. Jamel took a knee, So it's a big difference. And Crawford had that one fight at 154, and he didn't, Madrimov would touch him up a little bit. And this is nowhere close to Madrimov. You talk about Canelo. Now, if it was just another bigger guy, I would go with Crawford. But you talk about this might be, people might kill me for it, but well, not really, but this might be the best Mexican fighter ever. One of them, at least, right?
Jose Vargas Jr., who has sparred with Crawford, echoes Prograis' skepticism. Having felt Crawford's punches firsthand, he describes them as sharp and precise but not heavy enough to faze a fighter of Canelo's durability. Vargas points out that Alvarez has withstood the power of much larger men. Still, he admits that timing and accuracy often matter more than raw power. While he doubts Crawford can seriously hurt Canelo, he concedes that skill and consistency could wear him down over time.
Done in camp. All we're doing is putting the final touches. I've been sparring Ron Ellis. This guy is a dog, bro. He's been getting me ready. He's been Canelo's sparring partner. Shout out to my guy Ron, man. He comes, tries to knock me out every single sparring. This guy fights at 68. Big dude, goes southpaw, and hits hard. So I know he fought Benavidez. So he's a veteran, and he's doing better in tactics in there, where he's not letting me rest in the clinch. He's making me work every second of every round. And I got something for Callum. I got something for the whole boxing world. And, you know, I feel you're just as good as your preparation, and we've been doing the road work, we've been doing the mountain work. I've been recovering hard. I've been getting my rest. You know, I haven't been drinking no dark sodas, bro. I'm feeling like Tyson Fury right now, bro. Like.
Former champion Mickey Bay takes a controversial stance, accusing Canelo of cherry picking. He argues that Alvarez has long been selective, often choosing opponents when the timing or size favors him. In this case, Bay believes Canelo sees Crawford as a smaller man moving up in weight, making the matchup favorable for him. While critics question the fairness of the fight, Bay still notes that Crawford is too skilled to be written off. His adaptability could turn the tables despite the size gap.
That size comparison type of a thing to make it seem like it's not a type of cherry pick that he has to go up into this battle.
No, he a lot bigger. See, people looking at height. Height don't got nothing to do with weight and where you've been fighting at. Like, Terence put his weight on, so it's a difference. No, Canelo's a lot bigger, like, hands down. Like, just mass, as far as mass, he naturally that thick. You know, he got to come down. Terence, just because your weight is up there, that don't mean that. That's like putting a dude, Benavidez, as a heavyweight. He might walk around at 205 or whatever. That don't mean he a heavyweight though. So Canelo was by far the bigger man. We didn't see him hit dudes 6'3", 6'2" in the arm and hurt him. Like, he didn't hurt Kovalev, light heavyweight. So I mean, didn't he have a light heavyweight title?
Well, when he fought Kovalev?
Just period, at light heavyweight. Didn't Canelo win the light? Didn't?
Nah, he just Kovalev, that's it.
Oh, okay. Well, he might have wrong the fight, fought there a couple times, but the fact that he fought up there though, and he fought way up in light heavyweight, and he been in super middleweight for a minute, so he the bigger guy for sure. So really, he gotta hurt Crawford, or he got to get his major respect to make Crawford feel like he got to survive. If he can't do that, then he probably ain't gonna win.
Do you feel like you was talking about Crawford? He needs to poke his way out of this fight, right? We've seen that. You know, Crawford's been lined up by lots of fighters. Not Errol Spence, of course, but other fighters that was able to line up with shots that don't necessarily hit like a Canelo. Now, Canelo gonna line you up regardless, right?
Promoter Tom Loeffler shifts focus to the business side, calling Canelo versus Crawford one of the most marketable fights in modern boxing. With two global superstars, each commanding massive fan bases, Loeffler emphasizes the event's ability to transcend the sport and capture mainstream attention. To him, this fight isn't just about competition, it's a cultural spectacle.
Actually being in the ring on such a high-profile show, it's huge. It doesn't get any bigger than that. And you know, you got to give credit to both guys. They're both very confident. They both have very passionate fan bases. You know, Callum, you know, having fought in Dublin, packed the arena out there, the 3 Arena, having fought at Madison Square Garden 3 times, fought in Boston, and then Fernando Jr., you know, from one of the biggest boxing named families, you know, in the history of boxing. He's going to bring out a huge fan base. So it's a really exciting addition to, you know, such a big show that it like I said, doesn't get any bigger than that for sure.
I agree. I think that you, along with me, have seen some of these criticisms of the undercard. But really, when you look at it, I mean, we both know Callum Walsh so well. The personality and the authenticity that he brings to the sport is just so sincere. He's so real, you know, being from Ireland, coming overseas to train and dedicate his life to this craft. And his personality is so magnetic that it obviously brought someone like Dana White to be a huge supporter of him. I think in these weeks leading up to the fight, you know, the fighting public who does not know Callum Walsh is really going to fall in love with him, especially, you know.
Saudi boxing power broker Turki Alalshik is credited with making this fight possible. His influence and financial backing have brought many dream fights to life, though not all have been ideal matchups. Critics argue the size disparity puts Crawford at a disadvantage, suggesting the fight was made more for spectacle than competition. Still, without Alalshik's vision, this event likely wouldn't exist. His role underscores how much sway he has in shaping modern boxing.
Benavidez Jr. Canelo you know, would have mopped up all of these dudes, bro. Would have mopped up all of these dudes. Like, you know, when we're coming out and saying that this is a complete mismatch and this is a joke and this is a fantasy fight, you know what I'm saying, that Turkey Al-Sheikh dreamed of, and we know he's a big Crawford fan, knowing, you know, the level of star power that Canelo Alvarez has, and he had the bag to make this fight happen. It doesn't mean that it's a logical fight for boxing, bro. At the end of the day, man, you know, you guys tell me if Terence Crawford would have beat Triple G. Tell me if he would have beat Billy Joe Saunders. Tell me if he could beat Bivol, even though, yeah, Canelo didn't beat Bivol, but tell me if he could have beat a Sergey Kovalev. And the other loss Canelo has to Mayweather, man. Crawford, you know, nobody in the world I felt could have beat Mayweather in the height of his career, bro. Tell me if Crawford, bro, would have just flat out went in there and beat a guy like Miguel Cotto, Daniel Jacobs. You know what I'm saying, bro? Like, it's the level of competition that Canelo faced, man. And these dudes that he went in there to beat. You know, Terence Crawford is nowhere, you know, has fought nowhere near the level of competition that Canelo Alvarez has fought. And I've had some comments talking about, you know, you talk about we're going off of our emotions and you're going off of your emotions. You're not giving no facts, bro. Like, this is all facts right here, bro. The fact of the matter is, bro, Canelo Alvarez has fought at light heavyweight. The fact of the matter is, Terence Crawford has only fought once at 154 pounds. And the fact of the matter is, he was getting touched up by those right hands all night, bro. By Majumov. That's the fact, bro. The biggest, most dominating fight he ever had was against Errol Spence.
Trainer Dave Coldwell praises Crawford's versatility as the X factor. His ability to switch seamlessly between orthodox and southpaw allows him to create angles, disrupt rhythm, and keep opponents guessing. Coldwell stresses that footwork and lateral movement will be crucial against Canelo, who thrives on cutting off the ring. If Crawford can stay mobile and avoid being trapped, Coldwell believes he can win rounds and possibly the fight. For him, it's less about power and more about discipline, IQ, and movement.
From when the fight got made, I've always fancied Crawford. I just think he's different. I think there's something about him. I think if you add what Crawford's good at, his brain, he can switch, he's very good as a southpaw. His judgment of distance is fantastic, his punch picking is fantastic, he's got good legs. When you add what, and he can pop. I mean, listen, I'm not saying he's got the power to hurt Canelo, but he might have the power to surprise Canelo a little bit and just sting him and just. But when you look at what Crawford does well, and then I look at this version of Canelo, as Canelo's got on, his punch rate.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned for more.